What is up, guys? 2025 is here and it looks like it's going to be quite a good year for gaming. So I've put together a list of the games I'm most excited for coming out in 2025, or most of them I hope are coming out in 2025. So we'll go in release date order where we can. So first up on my list is Split Fiction. Split Fiction comes out on March 6th on the PS5, Xbox and PC. So if you don't know, this is the new game from EA and I think Hazelight, who created A Way Out and It Takes Two, two of the best co-op games I've played in recent years. So Split Fiction is going to be a split screen co-op game. You can either play it online with a friend or you can do couch co-op, the old school classical way. And this is definitely a day one purchase for me. I'm going to get this and play it with my wife most probably, because we both played A Way Out and It Takes Two. If you played those games, you kind of know what you're in for, but they're just really fun. So they tend to be, each level is very distinct in its setting, and most levels you get a different kind of mechanic to use or a different type of weapon or tool that makes that level unique. You often have to work together on puzzles to figure things out, and the game normally plays in a way that even if you play online or couch co-op, the screen is split down the middle vertically, so you can see your top to bottom screen and you can see your friend's screen, so you can kind of work together and be like, oh, you need to go over there, or you're doing this wrong, etc. So they're really good games, and this looks like they've really stepped it up in terms of the setting and adventure and mechanics involved. Next on the calendar, we have got Assassin's Creed Shadows on March 20th, launching on the PS5, Xbox and PC. Now, if I made this video a week or two ago, I would have said I'm not getting it on day one and I'll see how reviews are, but very recently, I think Ubisoft held their big preview where they invited content creators and reviews publications to come and play the game for about 5 to 6 hours. So I've been watching a few of those videos and I've been quite impressed, I'm not gonna lie. From the get-go, I'm not a huge Assassin's Creed fan. I'm not sure why, because I like history and I like stealth games, so it just never clicked with me, and I love the whole feudal Japan setting. So I was always intrigued in this game, and having now seen a lot of gameplay footage and hearing a lot of reviewers talk about the game, it seems like it's really well made. The 2 delays were worth it to kind of make the game as good as it can be. The stealth looks really fun. There's 2 characters you can play with, which seems kind of interesting. It looks to me as if they've, given the recent history with the RPG trilogy, it's almost as if they've given you the 2 characters with the big fella. It can be a case of, if you want to play Valhalla style and hack and slash and be a brute, you can. If you want to play the traditional assassin ninja style, you can with the other character. You can go prone in this game. There's lightness and darkness plays a part, so you can kind of be hidden at nighttime in a dark shadow. You can turn off lights, so you can kind of plan your route through a place. I just think it looks pretty good, and reading the context and background of Ubisoft right now, they're not in a great place, and it sounds to me as if they really need this game to be a big hit and to do well, and these 2 delays along with that context to me means this won't be one of those Ubisoft day one buggy games, Star Wars Outlaws. So I think this is going to be a good one, and right now in the last few days I've changed my mind and this is going to be a day one purchase. So suddenly my first new games of the year are going to be coming in March, both of them. And then to wrap up March, we've got another game. It's a good busy March. So March 27th, we get the release of Atom 4 on PS5, PS4, Xbox and PC. This is from Rebellion, the guys who make Sniper Elite games, a UK developer. You would have seen some stuff about Atom 4. I've noticed over the last 6 to 8 months, a lot of people have struggled with how to describe it. A very easy, lazy way of describing the game is as a British Fallout, which doesn't seem to be the case now. There's been a few previews, a few people doing interviews with the developer, and basically kind of sounds like a detective story. So It's set in the 1950s, I believe, after a nuclear incident that happened in British history. It's set in the north of England, and you wake up with amnesia. You don't know who you are, you don't know what's going on. It's 5 years after the incident, and you basically have to figure things out as you go along. You'll meet people, find out information. There's no like mission points or anything on your map. You're literally going to get leads. So you're going to chat to someone, they give you a lead or some information, you go and investigate more. Some leads can conflict with other leads. So if you kill someone or you fall out with someone, you can't continue that particular lead with them. So it's a very unique game. It's FPS, there are guns, there are weapons, but you don't get much ammo. I've looked at the combat and it's quite difficult. If you get into conflict with more than, say, 2 enemies, you're probably going to die. It's not a traditional FPS in that sense. So you've got to really think through how you're going to play the game and what decisions you're going to make. It sounds like the kind of game where 5 people could play it and end up with 5 completely different playthroughs and 5 different versions of the story. So biggest thing about this game, the greatest thing about this game could be, the greatest strength could also be its biggest weakness, which is that it's genreless, and it might kind of be a bit confusing for some people, or might not fulfill what people want. But this is not a day one purchase for me, especially as I've got 2 games I'm definitely going to get in March. This will be a game that I'm going to watch reviews on, probably see a trophy guide as well to get an idea on the platinum, and then I'm definitely going to pick it up eventually, because I often moan that there's not enough games set in the UK, and when one comes along from a very respectable studio, then I should definitely support them. So I will pick this game up eventually, just not straight away, not day one. Then the only other game that, to my knowledge, has a release date, and this came out very recently, is Doom: The Dark Ages, May 15th, PS5, Xbox, and PC. So this is basically the 3rd game in the new Doom trilogy that began in, I think, 2016's Doom and Doom Eternal 2020. I've platinumed both those games and they're really good. Just watch the trailer for this game. This is going to be very unique, and I think it's going to be the best one out of the trilogy, if I'm going to be honest. I think it looks amazing. I like the setting, medieval times. I like the whole color scheme. I like some of the weapons they're introducing, particularly this shield sword that you throw at people and it comes back to you like Captain America. I think you can fly a dragon in this game. You can get into a massive robotic suit, a bit like kind of Titanfall, and fight massive demons. The game's going to have, I think, some shorter levels and longer levels. They've worked really hard on making sure the levels are the right length of time. They kind of don't overstay their welcome. They're not undercooked. There'll be some semi-open areas, I think, where you can explore and do side missions. And really good news for us trophy hunters is there's no multiplayer. So they put all their effort and development into the single player. And I think it's going to be a knockout game. Next up are games that I'm not sure when they're going to come out, but the impression I've got is they're going to come out this year. So starting off with a game from Bloober Team, who made the Silent Hill 2 remake last year. This is called Chronos: The New Dawn. It's coming out on PS5, Xbox, and PC. And just looking at this trailer, it's really up my street. It's a combo of 2 of my favorite genres, which is sci-fi and horror. It's kind of giving me a little bit Dead Space vibes, and the fact that it's made by Bloober, who I think did a standout job on Silent Hill 2 remake last year. The graphics look good, and yeah, it's just ticking the boxes for me. So I don't know much about the story, but I really enjoyed the trailer, and I think it's going to be a special game. Next up is the remake I'm most hyped for, a remake I've been waiting for. It should have come out last year, but it didn't, and that is Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. So this is the first ever remake of a Metal Gear Solid game. They've released loads of footage and it looks stunning. A lot of people regard Metal Gear Solid 3 as probably the best one in the series. I think I'd agree with that. I really love it. I remember playing it on the PS2. It was one of my all-time favorite games, still is. So I'm excited about this remake. I'm also nervous because I played Metal Gear Solid 3 about 2 years ago, got the platinum in it, and the controls and gameplay are very dated. And I think Konami are releasing the game in a way that you can play with the dated classical controls, or you can play with a bit more modern controls. And I think I'll lean a bit more towards modern. I'll be interested to see how they remake it. I mean, are they going to do a complete, exact like-for-like representation, or are they going to go down the Capcom Resident Evil 2 route of maybe building out some more areas, making things a bit bigger? I don't know. So I'm very intrigued for that. But that is, once it's announced, that's definitely a day one purchase, no question. Next up, we have a series I've never played, but the concept and the teaser really got me, and that is Mafia: The Old Country. So yeah, I watched the trailer. It's cinematics only, they don't show gameplay, but I do like the idea of a prequel set many, many decades before the original trilogy, where you go into Italy and you see a kind of prequel story. I mean, I don't know if it'll be like the descendants of a main character. I don't know, because I've never played the Mafia games before, but the setting really sold it to me, especially if you're like a fan of the Godfather films, particularly Godfather Part 2, where it goes back in time. So I think this is something that I'm going to keep an eye out for. I want to see some more gameplay, maybe watch some previews, and that will sell it to me. But right now I'm very interested, and I'm not committed to like purchasing it straight away, but it's something I'm definitely keeping track of. Then over to arguably the game I think I'm most excited about this year, which is a new game and is a sequel to a game that I wasn't sure they were going to make a sequel, but Ghost of Yotei. So this is the sequel to Tsushima, set, I believe, 300 years after the first game, which I think is a great approach, because when I finished Ghost of Tsushima, I just felt like it didn't need a sequel, and I thought it would have been forced a little bit. So I'm so glad that they basically continued the concept of the series in terms of the gameplay, the style, the vision of Japan that they're showing, and they've gone with a total different story in a total different region with a new main character. I really like this trailer. I thought it was quite hyped up. I love the music, a nice combo of kind of almost Western genre music mixed with some Japanese, and it seems to me like hunting and animals are going to play a big part in this game. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting from this. It looks incredible, and I just can't wait for it. Obviously, the combat in Tsushima was very distinct, and you were a samurai, so I don't know what they're going to do in this game. I feel like they'll have something maybe a bit different up their sleeve. Still similar, but something a bit different. But this for me is definitely a day one purchase. I love Ghost of Tsushima. It's one of my favorite games that I've played in recent times, and I'm all up for the sequels. So overall, those are the games that are really exciting me. I'm glad that there's a few games I know I'm definitely going to get day one, which are Split Fiction, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and Doom: The Dark Ages are definitely day one purchases. Ghost of Yotei are definitely day one purchases. The other ones I'm going to keep an eye out for. And then in general, maybe a few honorable mentions is I still haven't played Death Stranding 1. I'm a huge fan of Hideo Kojima because of Metal Gear Solid. So I will watch all of the trailers and previews for Death Stranding 2 on the beach. I hope by then I have finished Death Stranding 1. If I finish Death Stranding 1, I liked it, I will pick up number 2. But that's a big if, especially as Death Stranding is like a 100-hour game. Another game that interested me was Marvel 1943, Rise of Hydra. This looks like a good game, starring Captain America and Black Panther. Set in a period that I'm interested in, and looks kind of good. It's also driven by, I think her name is Amy Hennig, the woman who created Uncharted and made the first 3 games. So that's a great person making what could be a very good superhero game. And also, I think right now, after Suicide Squad, we've not had an Arkham game in now 10 years. I'm not the biggest lover of the Spider-Man games. The Avengers game isn't highly regarded. So I feel like we could do with a good narrative-driven, excellent, tight superhero game, really, to be honest. especially as we wait for Wolverine. So yeah, I'm interested in that. Definitely need to see more before I make a decision on it. But yeah. So that's my list for 2025. Let me know in the comments what games you are interested in this year, what games you're committed to and that you're definitely going to get on day one or even pre-order, and what games you need more information on and you're waiting to see. But yeah, let me know in the comments. Let's get some conversations going about new games this year. I think it's going to be a great year for gaming and I'm very excited for that. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video and see you on the next one.